Amritsar, on the fringes of Amritsar. He's doing exactly what you're saying. That now my land prices are going to go up. So each year he's flogging an acre and he's living a life of opulence. But what is happening? See, this particular talk is about states, is about the country, is about trying to get something meaningful together to save the situation. We all know it's a disaster cost, like the planet. We keep talking about ecology, but what are we doing? So same way here, what are we going to do? And this has to be posed, it's both sides of the fence, both the government, the participants, the landowners, the professionals who are involved. It's actually a collaborative effort to try and stem the rot. It's a serious issue. And this needs to be highlighted as a very, very serious issue because this is happening across the country. You will have no farmer, you will have no one wants to be a farmer. And this requires definitely a hard government to look at policies in the future. But ultimately, you need to have food. And you need to have sustenance on all fronts.
Government, the rules, the construction rules and all these things prevailing in Kerala always restrict developers and builders to stand inside the town and make urban area more with good infrastructure, good development, good openings at the business front and all inside the town. So they are all forced to move outside. And when they move outside, then also they get the same FIR and same outside. You can fill the land, you can construct there, and naturally there won't be any agriculture, there won't be any support system. That will happen.
Good. So I think we started this talk with saying looking out, and this others are responsible. I'll take the next lot of questions. I think we have time again. Next lot of questions. Go to the fraternity itself, the design fraternity, and saying, what is it that we are not doing right? So we break it up as we start. But is our education system wrong? There's something inherently wrong. Right? There's something is obviously not right. What? Because I believe, when you, and Osho would say this, and said that if you're looking at a crowd, there's no such thing as a crowd. There's no such thing as society. It's comprised of individuals. You have 10,000 people and you're looking at from the hill, you see a crowd. You go in, and as these people start moving out, there's only like 10 individuals. So ultimately it comes down to the individual, and that's really the hard truth. It's each one of us who is the change. We change inside, that change has to happen on its own somewhere else. So for me, I'll put this, because we've already talked about what the government should have done, what infrastructure there should be, what policies there are, and so on and so forth, and what is going wrong with all. Right? It's quite evident, but we've tried to voice it. Now let's take a look at it. What are the solutions? One is, of course, with the powers that are. The second is within the design fraternity. And so we can, as I said, I'm setting out some of the guidelines. It could be education. It could be many other factors. Right? What are we going to do to say that, okay, the government has said there's a change coming. Are we ready for it? What are we doing? Are we able to provide the kind of solutions that are needed, that we are all expressing ought to be? So we can start that, so back with Jayagopal.
You don't want to do us all. Okay, I'll start off.
Yeah, you've been sitting in peace too long.
Sure. Yeah, I think in a way we came back to the point that I said, that ultimately it will be smaller settlements in Kerala, smaller rural settlements which are self-sufficient in energy, which are self-sufficient in water, self-sufficient in materials that go into the construction of such small settlements, which treat their own solid and liquid wastes. All these together form the sustainable agenda for the future. And if we are, as a fraternity, as an architecture fraternity, we are trying to equip ourselves to build such communities, rural communities, and such settlements which are self-sufficient, which are sustainable. how equipped are we? How much of de-schooling has to happen within ourselves? How much of, you know, kind of things which has gone into our brains, we have to bring it out, and how much of different kind of ideas have to develop within ourselves. All these are perhaps the questions that we should start to ask ourselves. Perhaps we should get started in asking our architecture students from now onward, so that we are, when 30 years from now, when our kids become our age or whatever, we leave behind for them a sustainable community or a sustainable environment and all. So it is a question of equipping ourselves and setting amazingly very good examples, set such kind of benchmarks so that a lot of people can follow such kind of trends. That's what I would say, looking inward, looking into our present.
So, George, tell us, what do you think ails our education system?
See, the quality of a city is a mark of its society actually. The culture of the society, the city is always a reflection of the society. Now, so this topic is about transformation 2020 and how the state of Kerala can align to the national policy. I don't know whether we have the time to go through that subject in length. I have a lot of topics which needs to connect it with the central government policy and towards what Kerala needs to do, aligning, because we have a lot of, I don't think we are on that topic.
I think it's
so on education, I think the fundamental problem is, if you look at the United States and make a differential between what is happening here, you look at three classes in society. Number one is the teacher in the lower primary school in the government sector. How many of us would want our children to teach in the government school in class 1 or 2? None of us would want to. The best of the intellect does not go into a school as a school teacher. But that is where a generation is created. But in India, and especially in the state of Kerala, how many would want their children to go and teach in a government school? I think the government should have an overall policy where the best of the intellect, they should be paid handsomely, and the IIM graduates and the Indian Institute of Science graduates and the IIT fellows have to get into the schools, the government schools, and create a generation with responsibility. Secondly, you look at the policemen on the street. They are a caricature in our movies, especially in the Indian movies, where they are the sect of people who would want to instill discipline in the country. But they are created as caricatures now. Look at America. The most respected profession is the policeman of the world. And we are not creating a class of society where discipline is instilled. And look at the third class, which is the politician. Fortunately, we don't have a politician here over here. Look at that particular class. Do they have the resolve? Do they have the integrity? And do they have the vision? So when these three sectors are of such poor quality, how do you expect a nation to create a society? And if the society is not created with responsibility and integrity and vision and passion, how do you expect a city to be created of quality? That's it. That's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm told that we are kind of running out of time. It's time and space complex equation. I think what I can say to conclude this talk is the two things that have emerged on the outside. The need to have a complete relook at the so-called settlements, I'm calling them, the government calls them smart cities, as completely self-sufficient and going beyond purely the technological attributes that are being talked about. They need to be self-sustaining in many, many ways. And the second part, looking inward, as I see it, I think of course this is a huge subject, but the the education system, to my mind, needs to be totally revamped. We've got literally thousands of architects. What's happening to the people who are coming out? What kind of work are they doing? What kind of opportunity are they getting? So you can actually see that it's visible to us. So to my mind, the crux that those who had the benefit, who had the experience, need to give some time for the education system. This is something that we've all come around to realize. I was having a talk the other day with Christopher Leninger, and this is the one thing that he was saying. He was teaching at Harvard. He's saying that all of us should be teaching. It's easy to talk and saying that there is a problem here and a problem there. I think we need to be teaching. We need to be not only teaching, but we need to be teaching substance, value systems. The subject that I spoke of, befriending nature. Instead of simply getting into year 1 curriculum, year 2 curriculum, and year 3 curriculum. It drives me to despair when I see these curriculums. They need to be far more versatile, they need to be changing, they need to be evolving. I found, let's say, a university like Columbia, where each year the studio director formulated his own curriculum. He didn't have to follow anything which was set by the predecessor. He said, okay, I think we're going to relook at this whole subject for these next 3 months. And this is what we are going to do. And we're going to discuss very little about buildings. We're going to discuss about life, and we'll discuss about many other subjects because, and this is a master's program, where he says you already know about design. So I think let's discuss about other things which will ultimately bring us back to design. But they're very important issues. So I think we can conclude this talk, group discussion, with the fact that we have a joint responsibility. The powers that are and the design fraternity. I think both of us have to play a role. Okay.
A big round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, sir, for moderating this session and our panelists. I would now like to ask Mr. Abhishek Somani to extend a token of appreciation to all our panelists. In the mementos on the stage, please. Starting with Mr. George Mathai. George Mathai. Mr. Mathai, I would request you to stay on stage, please. And Mr. S. Gopakumar, Mr. Jay Gopal Govinda Rao, MD and Principal Designer and Inspiration Architects, Mr. Sunil Kumar, Founder and MD Asset Home, and our session moderator, Mr. Kamal Malik, Principal Architect, Malik Architecture. And may I request Ms. Smita Quadros to come on stage to extend the memento to Mr. Abhishek Somani, please. Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Please put your hands together for our panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, we have downloaded the apps on our phone. We are tweeting about this conference as it happens through our Twitter accounts and through our various other channels. We have a special address, which is Innovations in the World of Ceramic, Moving Beyond Conventional to Unconventional. I would like to call on stage Mr. Abhishek Somani, Managing Director, Somani Ceramics, to enlighten us with this special address. Mr. Somani, if you could join us on stage, please. Please join us on stage for the special address. Please put your hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for innovations in the world of ceramic, moving beyond conventional to unconventional.
Welcome all of you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here in such large numbers. I will take you through a journey of ceramics and give you an insight on how ceramics make our lives easier on a daily basis and how we completely take for granted ceramics around us. Frankly, without the usage of ceramics, our lives would be pretty uncomfortable. And in some cases, in today's day and age, in this era, it would be unimaginable. So that's what I would give you an insight on, and also will give you an insight on our industry as to what the innovations have happened and what are some of the innovations which will come in the next 3 to 5 years and be commercially available for us to make our buildings, our community more sustainable, more responsible. So just a brief history on ceramics. It's an inorganic, non-metallic solid. The unique properties are, it's hard, it's heat resistance, chemical resistance, and physically very, very stable. Some of them I would mention, again, paucity of time. Evolution of ceramics was the first human-made ceramics date back to 24,000 BC. And the first tile which was found was in Mesopotamia, currently Iraq, in 14,000 BC. We've used ceramics across ages. The nearest and the most recent to us in India would be the extensive use of ceramics we found in Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, and also in Taxila and various other settlements of yesteryears. We've seen ceramic come a long way in various forms, in various ways, and not only adorning our homes but also used for very basic drainages, hygiene, etc. I would take you to some advanced ceramics. All our mobile phones, if you see here, I don't know if you know, but each and every single mobile phone which we use today have a ceramic element. In fact, the antenna, which used to be earlier visible in the older models of mobile phones, no longer is visible, but the antenna is still there. There is something which is communicating with the satellite up there. That something is ceramic. It's a ceramic element.